Welcome back. This is Rigaudon practice video number 2, and this is out of the Progressive Repertoire for Double Bass Volume 2 by George Vance, and this is on page 20. Last time we practiced in measures 3 through 10, and today we're going to start with the D minor scale, which is what our key signature is. If you need help with the fingering, go back to the first practice video and you can just watch the first 7 or 8 minutes of that to practice along with that. But if you already know your fingering, then we're going to just go ahead and play straight through that in half notes. So 2-octave D minor scale. When we get to that top D, play it twice. So we'll go about this speed. D, E, ready, set, here we go. You might have noticed that I was not using vibrato in that video. If you'd like to use vibrato and you're working on it, that's great. I'm going to be demonstrating without it so that you can really hear those pitch intervals. And with that warm-up, we're just really working on getting our bow going and really getting our hand open for good intonation. All right, so last time we looked at measures 3 through 10, and we stopped on the E dotted half note in measure 10. Today we're going to take a look at measure 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So we won't get into the thumb position today, but we'll go ahead and look at the next few measures on this. So we're starting up in 5th position. Now, if I just sat down and this is where I'm starting to practice, it might be kind of awkward to just start right here without kind of finding our place first, especially if you've taken your tapes off. You might want to start down in 1st position to find that E. So what I'm going to do is go up each note on the G string, and you're welcome to go with me to find that first E. All right, so here's open G. 1st finger for A. 4th finger for B natural. 3rd position, C natural, 1, D, 4, and then I'm going to go into 5th position and find E natural with my 2nd finger. Good. Really find that note and make sure you've got it good. So we ended with a dotted half note, and it's on a down bow, which means that I'm going to end up towards the tip of my bow. We want to try to save so it's not all the way out to the tip, because our bow distribution later in the piece is going to need it so that we're not quite all the way out here. So try to really save and use a slow bow on that dotted half note. So what I wanted to do to start is practice saving bow on this dotted half. So that time you can see I didn't quite end up at the tip. Let's try it a couple times together. One thing that will help is not being up here over the fingerboard, making sure you're low enough to get a good sound, and making sure you're putting enough weight into the bow. So relaxing your arm in your shoulder, elbow, relaxing everything here to get a nice big sound still without using quite as much bow. So let's try 3 beats, and it'll be at 8th note equals 70. So we need 6 of those since they're 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So let's try that. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So you're not quite out to the tip. Try it again. Ready, go. Try it again. Ready, go. 1, 2. Good. So we're going to really try to save bow on that dotted half. Now, forget what we just worked on. We'll come back to that a little bit later. But let's take a look at the eighth notes, and we're going to try this just like we did in measure 3 and 4, or in measure 3. We're going to try it without any of the slurs. So we're going from 4th position to the G harmonic, back to 4th position. We only have 3 notes in this passage. They just go back and forth. So it's E, F, and G. Back to F is 4, E is 2, F is 4, G is 3, F is 4, E is 2, and then F. And I'm going to go ahead and play the downbeat of 12, which is a dotted half note G, and stay there. Now, you can see I just corrected my hand. It's really easy to get comfortable just kind of staying right here. For that G, we want to kind of make sure our elbow is coming up. So what I'm going to do to start, before we really go back and forth between these notes, is go from E and I'm doing down on E to F, E to G, and then G to E, up bow. Just slurring and trying to make sure that I'm not doing this with my wrist, but instead I'm letting my wrist come around and stays nice and straight through here. So let's try just a couple of those E to G slurs up and down to get warmed up for this section and make sure our positioning is really good. So just join me when you're ready. Make sure your shoulders stay really relaxed. And if it's not perfectly in tune, that's okay. We're just working on our positioning right now. Now let's try going from the F to the G. So this is that 4th finger, same position, but just 4th finger. Join me whenever you're ready. Keeping that shoulder straight, or that wrist straight, sorry. Good. Now let's try just doing the pattern in the book with no slurs. So it'll be E, F, G, F, E, F, G, F, E, F. So they're all stepwise. You go E, F, G, come back, go back up, come back down. Okay, let's try just the pickups into measure 11 and all of measure 11. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Let's try that again. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Good. Let's try that 2 more times. If you're having trouble with this and it's going to take you a little bit more time, that's totally fine. You can break it down into small groups. Here's an example. I'll play the first 2 notes, the next 4 notes, the next 4 notes. So you can break it up into the notes that are slurred together or smaller chunks. Spend as much time as you need to really feel solid with these notes. And remember, we're working on keeping that wrist nice and straight over here and not doing that. Okay, we don't want to collapse in. We want to keep it nice and straight. So you make sure your elbow is kind of out to the side. All right, one more time with no slurs. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Nice job. Okay, now, just like we did in measure 3, when we were practicing yesterday, or last week, or whenever you did practice video 1, just like we did in that, we're going to take the section of notes that are slurred and just practice those. And we'll try them, let's do 4 times each. So the first slur is in measure 10, and it's an E to an F, and it'll be on an up bow. Now, remember at the beginning of the video, we talked about the E dotted half note is going to be on a down bow, and we want to try not to get all the way to the tip. that's where we're starting for this EF. And this up bow, EF, needs to get from wherever we landed all the way back down to the frog in 2 beats, in 2 eighth notes. So we're going to have to really use a light bow and a fast bow to get back up there. So here's our E. We're right there at the top, kind of towards the tip, but not all the way. And we're going to try to go E, F, and get down to the frog the best that we can. So you can see I used a fast bow, and I'm not using very much weight. 2 more times. E to F. Ready, go. 1, 2, ready, go. Last time. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. Let me try moving this down just a little bit so you can really see the bow. Okay, I think that will help some. Now, let's put all of measure 10 together. We have a dotted E half note on down. So it'll go E and then E, F on the up in 1 beat. So 3 beats down, 1 beat up. Let's try it. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, try it again. Ready, set, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, last time. Ready, set, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now, in the piece, there is a retake written or a small breath mark written. Let me just show you really quick. That's right here. So you can see how we have that little retake written. If we are really using good bow distribution, we probably can get away with just going not quite out to the tip and wasting a little bow, wasting or using that fast, light bow and not have to do that retake. So just think of that as more of a pause rather than a bow retake, okay? All right, the next 4 notes, this is the downbeat, beat 1 and 2 of measure 11. We have G, F, E, F. Since we were up bow in the last measure and we were trying to get as close down to the frog as we can, we're going to be on a down bow here all the way out to the tip. So it's G, F, E, F. 1 and ready, go. Now on that, for me, I have pretty long arms, and even for me, I really feel like my bow is pushing out so that I can keep it nice and straight. If you're practicing in a mirror, make sure that your bow doesn't go crooked like this, because you can hear that that tone kind of gets lost. So make sure you're really pushing out and getting that bow down on the down bow. You might even come forward with your body a little bit to really push that and keep that bow straight. Let's try it 2 more times together. 1 and ready, go. 1 and ready, go. Now, the next 4 notes are exactly the same, G, F, E, F, but we're out at the tip, and this time it's going to be an up bow. So let's try that. 1 and ready, go. Now, the last video we talked a little bit about, there were some times where we crossed to the G string and didn't get a great tone. On this up bow, when we're out here, we have to really make sure we're leaning in, we're pronating, leaning into this index finger and kind of scooping out the sound, especially on this higher pitch up here. So make sure you're low enough, make sure you're leaning in, and make sure you're really leaned into that index finger here. And let's try that 2 more times from the tip with an up bow. Ready, set, here we go. 1, 1, 2, ready, go. Good. So now it's time for us to put measure 10 and 11 together with the slurs. Let's find your E to start. And then right now my elbow is kind of down, so I'm going to go ahead and prep it so that it's up here so that I can shift and keep that straight position. So check your elbow, make sure that's really good to go. And we'll start with that dotted half note. Here we go, measure 10. 1 and 2 and ready, set, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Let's try that again. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, and ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and. 1, 2, 3. Now, I know before we didn't continue to go on that G, that's the downbeat of 12, but this time you can kind of add that in. And notice it's a dotted half note, just like what we had on the E in measure 10. So this time when we get to measure 12 and we're playing that G, I want you to watch, and that's the last note we'll play out of this section here. Watch and see if you can get, just like the E, out to this top fourth and not way out to the tip. So see if you can save bow and get to about there. All right, here we go. Find that E. We'll go from measure 10 to the downbeat of measure 12. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. Save bow. Freeze. Did you end at that top third or were you way out at the tip? We want to really end right there if we can. So let's keep going. The next part that we're going to look at is 12, 13, and 14. So in measure 12, we're going to start with that dotted half note and make sure we're not going all the way out to the tip. So let's play that 3 times. Here's that G harmonic, and I'm also going to check and make sure that my elbow's not dropping down, right? So keep that out to the side. And let's do it 3 times. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to kind of freeze right at the end to make sure that I'm not way out here. Okay, let's try it again. 2 more times. Ready, set, go. Good. 1 and 2 and ready, set, here we go. Good. Now, from there, our next set of eighth notes we're going to do without the slurs again to start. This is going to start with an F and E, just like what we had in measure 10 and 11, right? So we play G, and then we go F, E. So 4 and 2 in 5th position. Start by just playing G, F, E. Try that a couple more times. That shift should be feeling really comfortable after having practiced measure 10 and 11, but if you need a little bit more practice, you can go up and down, G, F, E, F, G, F, E, F, back and forth. Keeping that elbow to the side. Remember, not dropping like this. Keep it to the side. Good. So once you feel really comfortable with that, go ahead and move on to measure 13. In measure 13, we have G, F, E, and D. Now this time, our G and F, we're going to stay in position with the harmonics. So it's 3 and 1. So we're not shifting to 4 for the F. We're staying on 1. 3, 1. And then we're going to go to E and D in 4th position. I was a little bit flat. So we have G and F. And then 4th position, E and D. Now, if you have tapes on your bass, you might have 1, 2, 3, 4 tapes. That 4th tape is your D, that's 1st finger. And then that 5th tape that you have, that's E, that's 4th finger. Okay, so let's try G, F, E, D, back and forth. 2 more times going down. Ready, go. Last time, ready, set, go. And that was flat, that last one. So you practice that as many times as you need. Let's try going back and forth so we feel really good in that shift. G, F, E, D, and then D, E, F, G. 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 1, 3. Let's try it back and forth. Ready, go. that, we're going to be on a down bow and slur all 4 of those together. So 3, 1, 4, 1, all on a down bow slur. Ready, go. A little bit faster than we were playing it before since they're 8th notes. 3, 1, 4, 1. Last time, ready, go. Good. Now from there, we only have a half step shift down to get the C sharp. So we're on D. Again, if you have tapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's probably your 4th tape up there. This is going to be right between your 3rd and 4th tape. So we go from on the 4th tape to between your 3rd and 4th tape, back up to that 4th tape. So we're playing D, C sharp, D. And the book says to do 2nd finger. Let me see. Since we have time with it being a quarter note, let's go ahead back to our 1st finger. So we'll play D, C sharp, D, all with 1st finger. Let's try that again. 1, 1, 1. And you might need to make a note and just mark that in your part. Go ahead and change it to a 1. You could do it with 2 if you wanted to instead, but we're going to try it with 1. So let's try that D, C sharp, D 3 more times. These are the last 3 notes in measure 13. Ready, go. Last time. Ready, go. Alright, let's add the slur going down and then those 2 quarter notes. So here's what it's going to sound like. Here's a demo first. One more time. Now let's try it together. Ready, go. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, from there, since we shifted to 1st finger, we're already ready in 4th position to play our 5th tape and 4th tape, 4, 1, to play E and D. If you did C sharp on 1 and D on 2, then you'll have a half step shift up here. But we're just going to start right there. This is measure 14, the 8th notes. And we have E and D. That tiny shift down to C sharp, just like we played there a second ago. And then we're going to go to the D string, half step up, and play 4, 1. These are also in 4th position. So let's forget about the C sharp for a minute and just practice going back and forth from G string to D string. So we're going to play E, D, B, A. E, D, 4 and 1, and then the D string, don't shift at all, it just goes across the string, B and A. Let's play B and A again. Go straight across to the G string, E and D. So those are all on those tapes. 4th finger on the 5th tape if you have a tape, 1st finger on the 4th tape if you have a tape. Let's go that pattern a little bit faster. We'll play E, D, B, A, B, D, E. If you have trouble with this, you can skip it, but this is going to get us really comfortable in 4th position across the string. So about this speed. E, D, B, A. 1, 2, ready, go. A, B, D, E. E, D, B, A, B. Let's do 3 more times. 2 more times. Last time. Now the only thing that we have to add in is that little C sharp shift. Some people shift here and other people pivot. I would recommend doing a pivot. I don't know if you can see. Let's try taking this up here. For a pivot, you are going to keep your thumb where it is and just move your hand around. So your thumb is staying. In a shift, your thumb would have moved right? For this, we're just pivoting. So we're just kind of rocking around on our thumb. So before we add the notes in, let's go from D to C sharp with a pivot. So my first finger is rocking on my thumb. My thumb stays positioned and I'm just rocking from D to C sharp. Okay, when we put it all together, we have E, D, C, B, A. And the E and D are slurred on a down bow. Okay, so it's E, D, and then up on C sharp, down on B and A. One more time. Okay, that section might need a little bit of extra repetition just to kind of get used to it, but that's where we're at. We're in fourth position just with a tiny pivot to the C sharp. All right, the last thing for today, for this video, is that I'd like to play from measure 10 all the way through that A in measure 14. We'll do this twice, and we're still a little under tempo. Here we go. Find that E, and we're going to start in measure 10. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's try that one more time. I'm second finger on that E to start. Ready, set, go. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to start with the dotted half. Here we go. Dotted half. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So keep practicing on that and see how you do. In the next video, we'll put the beginning up to measure 14 all together, and then we'll take a look at the thumb position at the end of the piece. Have a great day.